This is the first comprehensive presentation that I've given on Inland Empire, which is one of my major projects at the moment, and the project is just getting underway. And I began this project by thinking, what is at stake in an analysis of Inland Empire? In simple terms, what I want to do is analyze the film's poetics, which means looking at how Inland Empire is put together. Quite literally, how is the film put together? So my question is focused around issues of how scenes are joined together and how are they joined. So I'm focusing on the decision-making process that's gone on into the film's construction. On occasions, I'm going to evoke the name of David Bordwell and his cognitive theory of narration to analyze more specifically how the film is put together. Now, this may surprise you, but I'm not trying to explain what the film means. That's not my purpose. This activity is reductionist. It takes something away from the film. Like Raymond Valor in his later work, his later textual analysis, such as an essay called The Film We Accompany, I want to accompany the film as it unfolds. I want to avoid what's called a completist interpretation, which the film philosopher Daniel Frampton has said finishes off the film. So I don't want to go into that position where I'm finishing off the film. I also want to avoid making vague, abstract generalizations regarding the film. Instead, I plan to begin looking at, I want to begin from the film itself and stick close to the surface of the film. Michael Rabinger said it succinctly in his book on film directing, when he said, read from the film rather than read into it. In cognitive terms, I want to develop a bottom-up rather than a top-down analysis. In terms of textual analysis, I'm trying to maintain accuracy in analysis and trying to avoid fanciful interpretations that especially surround this film on blogs and discussion lists, where something always means something else. Such symbolic reading strategies look beyond the film rather than look at it. So in summary, I'm trying to avoid a reductionist, inaccurate reading strategies, and I simply want to study what is there on the screen. This is never entirely successful activity, however, because when discussing a film, we always go beyond the screen. But as an ideal, I think we should begin simply by discussing and analysing what is there on the screen. I'm now going to introduce David Bordwell's theory of narration, and I'm going to start with a scene from his earlier film, Lost Highway. Let me say a few words about David Bordwell and his book, Narration in the Fiction Film. In this book, David Bordwell outlines a cognitive theory of film that tries to explain how spectators complete the film's narrative, rendering the narrative coherent. According to David Bordwell's theory, spectators are not free agents who can fill in a film in any way they wish. Instead, they use intersubjective norms, principles, and conventions to guide them. When watching a narrative film, spectators do not absorb the data because it is not complete in itself. Instead, they have to process this inherently incomplete data, and David Bordwell evokes the term schemata. the norms and principles in the mind that organize the incomplete data into coherent mental representations. Bordwell notes that gaps in the data are the most evident cues. They are simply missing data that spectators need to fill in. So this process of gap fill-in is called hypothesis or inference generation. Bordwell introduces a series of concepts to explain how narration works. That is, how plot and style facilitate and hinder the spectator's construction of the story. These concepts include various hypotheses the plot encourages the spectator to generate, various gaps the plot constructs, types of exposition the plot employs, tactics of delaying the release of story information, redundancy, and finally broad narrational strategies such as knowledgeability, self-consciousness, and communicativeness of narration. Okay, let's see this at work in the opening of Lost Highway. We're going to see the first 4 minutes of the film.